So I just want to start this YouTube video out in particular with a rant. And I don't think the future YouTube videos are going to be very ranty. That's kind of the whole point of this video in particular, is to be... I think I have this kind of... people have this opinion of me that I'm overly negative about the game, or I do these rants because I'm angry about something or salty about something, and that's definitely not the case. It's kind of quite the opposite. I am upset about something today, and that's what we're going to start the stream out with. And what I'm upset about, or who I'm upset about, is you, sort of. I'm upset at the Star Citizen community and the Star Citizen Reddit in particular, maybe even some people on Spectrum. There's, over the last couple of weeks, and streamers as well, over the last couple of weeks, all I've seen is a topic, one specific topic. And it was after the Hercules was launched, and it was just about LTI and how CIG is selling LTI and CIG is doing this and so on and so forth. And while I may agree with some of the statements that were made in some of those threads on Reddit or YouTube videos or articles written by Bad News Baron, which I don't disagree. I do disagree with a lot of the things that he said in there, but that's not for today. That's kind of the point of this video, is while those topics are valid to discuss and are topics worth discussing, especially when you feel like CIG is doing something that you're not happy about, you should be vocal about it. That's kind of the point of all this. There's so many other topics that are just being ignored. The LTI topic has been hammered to death, and for the 100th time, CIG has told us that LTI is really irrelevant, or insurance, the amount of money that insurance costs, will be irrelevant. It will be like a little drop in the bucket. No one's even going to think about it. So it's supposed to be a very minor perk to people who backed early, or to now people who pay and put real money into the game. So, however you feel about the topic is your opinion, and that's fine. But the reason that what I'm talking about here is we're in Star Citizen 3.1 about to move to 3.2, where they're going to be adding mining. They're going to be making improvements to the mission system. They're going to be adding more ships, adding FPS AI, improving the economy in the game to make it more enjoyable, seemingly giving us the ability to buy ship weapons, potentially even able to buy ships. That's probably going to come in a later patch, though. And we're talking about LTI, a mechanic that's not in the game. When right now we have missions, service beacons, cargo running, PvP, Arena Commander, racing, Star Marine. There's a lot of things in the game that we could be discussing right now that we're not discussing at all. We're talking about LTI, like the least relevant topic in the game, period. And the thing that bothers me the most is Star Citizen's open development. And you can argue if they're open enough or whatever. I mean, there's been arguments on either side about that. I think that's irrelevant to this discussion, where I am lucky enough as a Star Citizen streamer to occasionally have a dev in the chat. Even right now, as this is being recorded, Luke Presley is here, Christian from the German office is here, and we often talk about the game mechanics between the three of us and the Twitch chat. That's not exclusive to someone like me who has a few viewers on Twitch. That's open to everybody in the Star Citizen community, and not enough of us are taking advantage of it, right? You may not be able to actively have a conversation with them because the Twitch platform just, kind of works really well for that. But you're able to make a thread on Spectrum. You're able to make a Reddit post. You're able to make a YouTube video about a certain game mechanic that you would like to see improved or You can give your thoughts on a topic, and one of those devs may see that and think, wow, that's a really good idea. Maybe we should implement that. Those things have happened in the past already for this game. But I'm not seeing us enough have those discussions and talk about those things where we're at the point where, again, we're in 3.1, Star Citizen 3.1, right? And we're right on the cusp of some real legitimate gameplay loops and gameplay that can be played consistently over and over and over again, where we can really call Star Citizen like a game and a playable game where we can make progress towards something and we can have a say on how we make that progress, how the ships work that we're making that progress in, all those things. And we're not having those conversations. And I'm tired of it. So this video is about, and sequential videos in the future are going to be about putting my money where my mouth is on this topic. Weekly, I want to find a game mechanic or a topic that we're going to discuss as a community, that I'm going to make a YouTube video on, make a Reddit post, and make a Spectrum post, and just try and start a conversation on a topic. That's it. So today's topic is service beacons. It's very relevant to the week, as ATV and RTV were, that's what they were featured on. So I want to start out with what is a service beacon, and it is sort of confusing because of what they call it. They call it a service beacon, so it sounds like a beacon that is, hey, come and service me or something over here. I'm hurt or I'm injured or I need fuel. That's sort of what it is, but what it is CIG's version of player-to-player gameplay thing. So giving a mission to another player. It's the mission system for player-to-player. So we currently have two types of missions. We have personal transport, or two types of beacons, I should say. We have two, personal transport and combat assistance. Combat assistance is you ask for combat assistance or accept the mission for combat assistance. You stay near the player, and you're paid out over a period of time that you've helped them. Transport's more simple, where it's, please take me from A to B, and I will give you this much money. And once you complete that, the person who's basically the Uber driver is paid. Why is this important? Star Citizen needs emergent gameplay. So a really easy way to force emergent gameplay are player-created missions like these. All sorts of things can happen, right? I'll give a really good example of one. Somebody went to the Javelin on Daymar, which I've never seen before, created a service beacon to pick them up for a lot of money to force someone to want to take it. It was like 10,000 credits. And I was like, holy crap. And I hit it right away and went for it. I was like, I'm going to go make some money off this guy. And I went there and I land, and it's the Javelin. And as soon as I get there, before I pick him up, he cancels the thing because he didn't want to pay, but he wanted me to see it, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. And I think that may have spawned, things like that may have spawned a beacon in the future, which we'll talk about later. So I want to talk a little bit now about what do I like about the beacon system. What I like about it so far is kind of its UI user experience, where it's basically like the Uber app. And, you know, that we know that the Uber app is a successful app because it's easy to use. But the, because it works in IRL implementation, so why not implement something like that in Star Citizen? The rating system makes a lot of sense. There might be some little loopholes with that that will cause issues, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The ability to accept missions without entering the Mobi-Glass is a nice step to this in particular, where the other missions that you have to do with the NPCs are all through the Mobi-Glass, and there's a lot of steps to get there, and it's kind of annoying. And it's really the first implementation of currency sharing. So if you're playing with friends and you do a mission yourself, like, you know, just because I'm the streamer, a lot of the times I'm the one accepting the mission, I'm the one making the money, but the people that are helping me out aren't getting paid to do that. So we can do combat assistance and things like that to pay people that are helping me out. What don't I like? I mentioned this before. There's a lot of kind of loopholes to troll and not pay, and there's a lot of weird issues with the current implementation of it. And again, we know that this is first implementation, but when there's a first implementation feature, when is a better time to discuss it, right? Because then you talk about the loopholes that may have went over somebody's head or whatever, and they can actually hear about it. The way the missions trigger, I have issues with. As soon as a person gets on your ship, you are on to the next portion of the mission. Now, they can walk on your ship, walk off. This is for a transport mission. They can walk on your ship and walk off, and that's it. That portion is pretty much done. And then you have to like pick them up again and do it, and they control you a lot that way. Also, as soon as you land at the location for a transport mission, as soon as you land there, the mission's complete. So that doesn't stop the player from the person who's doing the Uber driving to get paid by the player and then kill them and kind of like take their stuff in the future. So there needs to be ways to prevent that, and we'll discuss those in a little bit. And there's limited payment methods, right? For example, a flat fee or a per minute fee for the combat missions. There's only two ways to pay. The transport one is a flat fee. The combat missions is a per minute fee. Right now, we don't have the option to pay with goods, things like that. So now I want to talk about the troll avoidance of service beacons. I have some ideas on this. This is where the conversation I would really like to see start, both in the Twitch chat, YouTube comments, and on some of these posts, is how do we close some of the loopholes? How do we avoid people abusing the system? So one of the things that I would like to see is the players able to access the rating system post-contract. So, for example, the one that I gave before, where I'm the Uber driver, I'm driving you to, let's say, I don't know, somewhere on Daymar that doesn't have an armistice zone, and as soon as we land, I get out of my ship, and I blow your head off, and then I take your gun, or your armor, or something like that. Obviously, that's not something that's working currently in Star Citizen 3.1, but eventually we should be able to take inventory items off of a player, right? So it creates an issue where that could happen. Now, on our TV this week, kind of the answer from the devs were like, well, that's why we have a rating system. And yeah, but the rating system's flawed because the player would have had to give you a rating as soon as the ship has landed, right? Where post-landing, I can then do something negative, and you can't re-rate me and give me a negative rating and say why. Another huge one, which is part of the Uber app, is the ability for the contract to be dropped from the other side. For example, the person creating the mission. And what I say, because you can do that, you can just cancel the mission at any time, right? But what I would like to see is the ability to drop that player from the beacon. So, but the beacons stay live. So let's say, for example, I need to be picked up, or I'm doing a transport mission, and I'm dealing with somebody who doesn't like me. So they immediately wait for me to do a transport mission, and they accept it right away. And this is a person that's just out there to troll me, right? And I have no way of blocking that person from trolling me at the moment. So that would be one thing. We need to be able to block unwanted players and individual players from taking part in our service beacon things. So that's for one. But then on the other side, let's say a player accepts it and we recognize their name and they gave us a problem last time. Then we're able to say, okay, that person accepted the mission. I don't want him to accept it. So I'm going to drop him, but then my service beacon stay alive, which is exactly what happens in the Uber app, right? A driver can say, you know what, this person has gotten a lot of negative ratings, things like that. I don't want to drive that person because I don't want to have any problems today. So that's kind of aside from the rating system that's currently there. That's what I would like to see from the kind of troll avoidance portion of the service beacons. So now moving on to the combat beacons, they're a little weird, where you just have to be close to a player and you're not really helping them at all, but you're getting paid for it for the entire time that you're with them. I think that way of payment is a little bit weird. I think you should really just be paid per kill of an enemy player of the person that you're protecting. So if another player attacks you, they turn orange, even though they're blue, but they may be blue to other players in the area. So a player that may be blue to me, but is orange to you, I should be paid per kill for a player that is orange to you. And the upcoming escort beacons, which is planned for the future, should really solve this, I think, where not only is it a pay per kill, where it should be a pay per kill, but it's also could be paid per quantum location that you follow the player to. So I kind of like that. Transport missions, how can we improve those? The easiest thing to improve those is voice over IP, which is obviously coming, but a totally separate system from the transport missions. But imagine being a taxi driver and being able to shoot the shit with the guy behind you in the car, you know? It'd be cool. Also, what about transporting a large party of people, a large number of people? That would be interesting, right? Not just single players, but a party of players with 3.2 coming and group systems coming online. I feel like this is something that could be implemented into the service beacon system as well. So the final thing is what beacons are coming into the game in the future. And like I mentioned before, there's going to be an escort beacon, assassination beacons, points of interest beacons, and bounty beacons. The big one for me is the assassination and the bounty ones that there could be issues. So I kind of want to talk about these in particular. The assassination and bounty missions are going to be Troll City. Listen, I'm a Star Citizen streamer. We're going to get stream sniped. We're going to get trolled. Those things are going to happen. But I'm not really thinking of myself in this situation. Other players get trolled regularly as well, just because some people are trolls, right? And they may just choose to bother a specific player for a whole slew of reasons. And the bounty and the assassination system could really have issues with that. One of the suggestions when we had talked about this previously on stream was a fixed bounty amount or even a fixed assassination amount. And that means if you would like to place a bounty on a player, depending on their criminal rating, maybe, the amount of the bounty is limited. So let's say a 5-star criminal can only be given a bounty of 1,000 credits. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, right? But it should be, in my opinion, 1,000 credits per player that is given that person a bounty. NPCs should be able to give bounties as well. So over time, that bounty will stack from 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000, all the way up to a lot. If you're a well-known player in the area, there's going to be a lot of bounties on your head. And eventually, it's going to hit a number where a lot of people are going to want to go after you. And I think that's a decent way of doing the bounty system. The assassination system is a little different, where, I mean, it's kind of like a contract where it needs to be a set number, right? So I was thinking some things, and this is something where I really want to reach out to you and hear your thoughts about it, about an assassination beacon and how to do it. Where maybe doing it cleanly, like turning off a comm array and doing it where no one has seen you, awards you a certain amount, or just, doing it out in the open and getting busted, awards you another amount. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is this was also mentioned on RTV, and I also want to keep in mind with you guys that a lot of the things that were mentioned on RTV were just the guys kind of throwing ideas out there. Those aren't necessarily like design documents for an assassination mission or anything. But what was mentioned on RTV was the idea of if you place an assassination on someone, once that player is killed, you also get the criminal rating. Like, that seems like the stupidest idea ever. Isn't that the point of an assassination? Is you pay someone else to do the dirty work and potentially get in trouble for it, and not you? So why would you get a criminal rating? So I didn't like that. I've been thinking pretty long and hard about a better way to do it, and I've been struggling. So I kind of want to reach out to you guys and see what you think about that. And the final thought that I have on service beacons before I put the conversation over to you is what beacons do you want to see in the future that haven't been mentioned yet? So right now we have transport, combat assistance. We're going to be seeing escort, bounty, assassination, and point of interest. Point of interest is really cool. Like, it's the first implementation of basically selling information. So here's a cool place where you can mine ore. To see it, 10,000 credits, something like that. I want to see a 911, an emergency beacon. And how I'd like it to work is through... It only works in systems that have security. UEE system or a system like Stanton that has, Stanton Crusader security, things like that. So when you put out an emergency beacon, only NPCs or maybe people on your friends list or org can accept that beacon. It doesn't go open to the public. When you call 911, people don't come out of their homes to come, give you the Heimlich or whatever, or come to your car crash and try and save your life. First responders do. So when you put out an emergency beacon, first responders should show up, is kind of what I'm thinking. So that's my thought on a type of beacon that we haven't heard about yet that we'd like to see. But then that can also go into the search and rescue type of beacons and things like that in the future. But I would like to see it work with NPCs specifically, like a 911 emergency type of beacon. I think would be really cool. So that's really it for this video. As always, like this video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this in the future, or come on over to Twitch and hang out and have the conversation with us live when we talk about this on Twitch. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.